Yeah.
How was the role of Allison initially described to you?
Oh, I think it was that it was like I think it was always like Allison is like, the perfect daughter, has always been the perfect daughter, has always done exactly what her mother wanted her to do. And she's starting to show some cracks. And that was what was like that final bit was what really drew me to the part was I was like, oh, that's the fun, interesting part. Cause yeah, like the feeling of like golden girl, perfect child is like that's hard. That's hard. But playing someone who's flawed in that way was always interesting to me.
I like it. Is that what initially drew you to be a part of the series? Or if not, what was it? Was there something else that drew you?
I mean, I really liked the writing. You read so many pilots during pilot season, or at least I know pilot season has changed so much in the last few years, but you read so many scripts and there was something about the way that Scott Prendergast, who's the creator of the show, he's just got a very funny, very specific sense of humor. And there was just something that I felt in reading the script where I was like, oh, because there are certain things about the storyline that they feel recognizable. It feels like it's like there are things about the show that are like, yeah, you've seen like a detective show and you've seen a lawyer show before, you've seen a family drama with comedic elements before, but there was just some spin that he was putting on it that felt distinct and fresh. And yeah, so it was the writing was really good, and the character was interesting, and yeah, that was it for me.
And what I like actually kind of piggyback my next question. Last season, we did see Allison make several changes to her life, including her divorce and becoming her own woman. Would you expect her to be
Yeah.
such a big inspiration to women who are watching that may be in the same situation?
Oh my God, it's daunting. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I mean, I do hope that people watching it, regardless of how like specifically they overlap with the character, it's like I hope that anybody watching it who relates in any small way to the character find some inspiration and in like yeah, it is possible at the age of 35, I think is how old I'm supposed to be in the show. Like it's possible to start fresh or to shake things up and to change things. And yeah, I hope that people find inspiration in her. I That's the thing that I have enjoyed about playing her is that it's like, oh right, like you can always make a change. It is possible, and it is important, in fact, to be brave and not stay settled just because it's comfortable sometimes.
Like that. I like that answer. And but going back to the independent women, we have a lot of independent women on the show. We have Margaret, we have Beverly, we have Susan. And why do you
Yeah.
think this kind of representation is important, especially since they all come from different walks of life?
I mean, it's important because it's great to see women characters on TV and in other media as being whole, complete people, regardless of the men that they're in relationship with, or really anyone that they're in a relationship with. It's important to show like women as full people with full lives and identities uh and inner lives too, where it's like it's important to see. Yeah, it's you know we've we've been we haven't had such great representation for so long that we've got to play some catch up. But it is nice. I feel very proud of the fact that the show really, I especially love what's going on with Margaret's character in the second season of like really sticking to her guns in terms of what she wants for her life and in her career and in her relationships romantic and with her kids and everything. I think it's a great, I think it's, and that to me also is a testament to Marcia Gay Harden, who plays that character. It's like she brings so much strength to that character, and I feel really inspired by her, and I feel like I get inspired to then play Allison in a similar way that I hope will then, as you say, inspire people who are watching to, you know, to do what they want to do and to feel empowered to make choices not based on what anybody else is expecting of them.
And that's what I love about the show, that it does have that representation. I mean, I can see myself a little bit in each one of the female characters, and that's what I love because that's so rare that that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. And yeah, they're great characters. They're really, it's a fun bunch. It's a fun bunch of women to be around.
And this season, what I also liked is you kind of see Allison and Todd reverse roles. I mean, Allison's living on his couch this season and stuff like that. How does it feel to see her change and evolve in that sense?
It's been so fun. It has been really, really fun. I've loved getting to play those scenes with Skylar where he's like, wait a minute, like this is not what we're like, this is not the dynamic. Like this is not how this is supposed to go. It's been so fun, and it's also it's a cool challenge because it's like, you know, in season one, Allison was really starting to bristle against having such an overbearing mother and having and feeling, and not just her mother, you know, it's like obviously our dad in the show, Todd, and Allison's dad in the show has died and he's not there, but you do feel, I think, especially in our sibling dynamics, what he must have been like, what that dad was like. And I think, you know, we're all very clearly shaped by the people who raise us, and so I think Allison spent so much of season one chafing against that and chafing against what was expected of her. And and something that's really interesting and is a very fun challenge for me in the second season is she's like, she spent so much of last year being like, don't tell me what to do. I want to figure this all out by myself. I like, stop, you know, being a helicopter mom. And now she's in a little bit of a free fall and she's living on Todd's couch and yeah, has done this role reversal. And she's a little bit like, oh my God, I actually kind of want some guardrails. But that is the exact opposite of what she wanted last season. So it's this weird, she's just tumbling. She's in a free fall and she's tumbling and she's like, oh my God, I don't know what to hold on to. And that's really fun to play. And I hope it is fun for the audience as well, because we're having a blast. Skylar and I especially are having a blast in those scenes in his apartment, getting to do that. Yeah.
And what I love also is the fact that, and again, a lot of women can relate to that. I mean, I've been there. I know lots of other my friends have been there. We've all been like at that point where we're free falling and we don't know what to do, and then finally it all
Yeah.
comes together, which I'm sure will happen for
Hope
Allison.
so.
Yeah.
Hope so. I think she
And then
will. I think
speaking
she'll
of, she
land
also
on.
had that we also had that retreat that she went on that season that caused all those problems with the identity theft. Are we gonna get flashbacks to that or anything like that and learn more about what
I
happened?
don't, I don't know if we'll get flashbacks. I don't know that we'll get flashbacks. Allison is certainly haunted throughout the season by the events of that sort of failed retreat, failed personal exploration weekend. Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah. So without giving too much away, what else can we expect to see from her this season?
Yeah, I think Allison is really like evaluating kind of every decision that she has ever made about her life and every decision that has ever been sort of made for her about her life um and she's starting to get some clarity about what she actually wants to do and who she wants to be and how she wants to move through the world. And I'm really excited about it. I yes, I can't give it away, but I think that towards the end of the season, Allison gets to a place of like she's actually excited about her life for the first time in I think a while, and I think that's a really beautiful thing, and I'm really um like proud to get to be a part of that story, and I'm like honored that the that Scott and the writers are like giving me that storyline because it feels like that's like a lovely story to tell. It's like someone coming into themselves and figuring themselves out, figuring themselves out and figuring out what makes them tick.
And season premiere, you got to work with Lisa Rinna from Days of Our Lives and Real Housewives. Tell us about that experience because she's fabulous, like you guys.
She was amazing. She was amazing. She was so sweet and so fun. I was a little intimidated by her going into it. I think because of the housewives thing, I was like afraid that she was going to be like that all the time. And she is like she's like a good time girl. Like she's like, so is that an offensive? Maybe good time girl means something other than what I mean. But
I
she's
know what
like
you mean.
lovely. She can hang. She's really fun. And I felt so bad because it's like barely in the final episode, but it's like our one scene that we shared, like we met and hung out a little bit on set, but it was like the one scene that we had together was she was like in a hospital bed pretending to be comatose. And I was like listening to her heart and had the stethoscope, and she's got like pipes and like tubes and stuff like up her nose and in her mouth. And I felt so bad because we're all like looming over her and she had all this like scary shit up her face. And I kept on being like, I'm so sorry. Like this show is usually really, really fun. And she was like, I'm having a great time. She was like a total chiller. She was lovely. I had a great time
I
with
love
her.
that. That makes me
Yeah.
so happy to hear. And can you tease any other guest stars that might be on this season?
We've got some really great ones. We have some really, really exciting um, guest stars. We just finished filming an episode with Jennifer Lewis, who is incredible and whose character is sort of everything that you hope that Jennifer Lewis will be playing. We've got Heather Morris, who's in a couple episodes, who's really lovely and fun. And then I'm really excited. We had Dean Winters came and as has a little storyline, and he's just a total delight to work with. He was like I just kept on saying he was like an adrenaline shock when he came on set, where it was like he just like enlivened everything, and he's just kind of a maniac character, but is so fun, and I think is bringing something really, really exciting to the show. I'm really excited for people to see that. He's going to show up in episode 4, I think. So he'll be great. I'm excited for people to see that character.
I'm excited too. And without giving too much away, what other storylines can you tease a little bit about what's
Gosh, um, I'm trying to think. I know. I'm like, what am I allowed to say? What do I know and what am I allowed to say? Um, I know that we get a little bit more of the sort of like Susan is kind of also coming into her own. We have some nice like like women of like Susan and Allison's age group like becoming full adults coming into their own. So she's got some fun stuff coming up. I feel like Margaret and Todd are finding really great ways to work together and learn from each other, which I always love when you see them like picking up little they're like, "Oh, I've seen I've seen mom do this or I've seen Todd do this," and then they like sort of role play as each other. I always love when they do that, and I feel like we've got some good moments of them doing that.
nice? And speaking of them, Marsha Gay Harden and Skylar Acid, tell us about your favorite scenes and memorable moments of working with them because they're hilarious and it's hard to keep a straight face trying to.
Yes, yes, for sure. I feel like with Skylar in particular, he's just like he's sort of like the Energizer Bunny. Like he's just he is coming up with like absurd, ridiculous little physical comedy bits, or he's throwing in little lines here and there. He's so funny, and Marsha is so funny. I feel like something that I certainly didn't know, and I feel like people don't necessarily understand about her, and I hope they get to see it in this show, is that Marsha is like a really gifted physical comedian. Like she really loves doing little stupid physical bits, and she's constantly finding ways to make her shoes squeak obnoxiously on the floor, or she's finding like, she takes a bite of something and it tastes disgusting, and then the rest of the scene she's like haunted by the taste of this disgusting thing. She's just, they're both in their different ways, but in very specific ways, so funny. And I feel so lucky to work with them, because I just feel like I have like a front row seat to like an excellent acting class with them all the time. Marsha loves props, and I've absolutely picked up like she like uses props to great. It's just she like enriches the character, and deepens the character so much by just being like, okay, what if I have like a little pastry in the elevator, and from there the story is like, it just, I love watching her work, I really do. And I feel, yeah, lucky every day to be with them.
Yes. And what do you think it is about So Help Me Todd that makes the show such a fan favorite series? I mean, it's been amazing so far.
Yeah, it's, I feel I'm so thrilled that that's been the response to it. It feels so great to know that people are connecting with it that way. Um I think what people like about it is it's like, obviously there's the case, and people have fun like following along with the case and feeling like, oh, let me figure out who did it. But more than the case necessarily, and I don't think I'm being self-aggrandizing, I think people do really connect with the people, with like the, with the family, and then also with like the law firm family. Like I think they feel really invested in the relationships between Margaret and her kids, and between Margaret and Lyle and Susan, and Todd and Susan and Lyle and everybody. I think, and there's so much humor in the way that everybody interacts, and I yeah, I think the cast really likes each other. We all get along really well. We like hang out on weekends, and we'll like play bananagrams on set. Like we really enjoy each other's company, and I think that that translates through into the show, and you can tell that we're all having fun making it, and I think some of that joy just kind of bleeds through, I hope, to the audience experience.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it does.
I'm
And are you
glad.
working on any other projects?
I'm in the very beginning stages of working on shooting a short film that I've been shadowing our directors on So Help Me Todd. I'm angling for getting to direct an episode of So Help Me Todd. If we're lucky enough to get a season 3, I'm hoping that I get to direct an episode, which would be so fun. I love our crew so much. I think they're all brilliant, and it would be such an honor to get to like work with them in that way. And so right now what I'm working on is preparing to shoot a little short film over the summer that I would direct and produce, and yeah, so that'll be fun.
That
I
sounds like
hope.
a lot of fun. Yeah,
Sounds
I
like a
can't
lot of
wait to
fun.
hear all
I'm
about
looking forward to work. Yeah, I hope it happens, and I hope it will be good. We'll see. Yeah,
it.
it'll be a
Wonderful.
learning experience.
And what would you like to say to your fans and supporters who love you to all the wonderful work that you do and that you bring to our screens?
Oh, I feel like I've said the word lucky so many times in this interview, but I do, I really, particularly also coming out of the strike this past year, of that being such a long difficult process for so many people, and I felt so lucky to be back at work when that ended. And I really like it's such a thrill, and it's so I don't take it for granted that not everybody gets to be an actor who wants to be an actor in the way that, like I go to work every day, and like this is what I do for my job, and I love it, and I feel really really blessed that that's the case. And a huge part of that obviously is that there are people who watch the show and who will watch, whatever I have done in the past. And I feel really I know how important certain shows and movies have been to me when I'm at home and I'm tired and I just want to like escape from my life, and I put something on, and I know how important entertainment is as like a escape and as a mental health exercise. And I feel very flattered that like anybody possibly watches anything that I'm involved in any way that is similar to that. And I feel really, yeah, flattered and lucky and honored that people, you know, care. It's like, yeah, it's a nice feeling, and I'm very grateful.